the silent accord. For 70 years, humanity had maintained a delicate presence among the stars, not dominant, not expansive, just present. Earth held only 12 colonies across 7 star systems, a modest footprint compared to the sprawling empires that dominated the galactic conquered. The great powers, Valorians, Nixari, Trosians, controlled hundreds of worlds each, their military might unquestioned across thousands of light years. What these empires never quite understood was why Earth refused repeated offers to join various protection pacts. The humans were polite but firm. "We appreciate your concern, but we prefer to maintain our independence." This confused the galactic powers. Earth possessed no significant fleet by their standards, just a handful of cruisers and frigates that patrolled their small territory. Their technology appeared mid-tier at best. Their weapon systems were rarely demonstrated. In the Grand Council chambers of the Valorian Empire, Supreme Commander Kazen drummed his crystalline fingers against the obsidian table. His translucent skin pulsed with blue bioluminescence, a sign of irritation among his kind. "These humans," he said to his war council, "they continue to refuse our generous offer of protection. Their arrogance exceeds their capabilities." Admiral Vex, his most trusted advisor, displayed a hologram of Earth's territory. Their outer research station at Proxima Centauri remains virtually undefended, just a single patrol ship and basic orbital defenses. Kazen's lights pulsed brighter. Perhaps they need a demonstration of why smaller powers shouldn't refuse Valorian protection. "Take the station, extract their researchers. We'll study their biology more thoroughly, and when they come begging for their people back, they'll accept our terms." The Valorian strike was swift and overwhelming. 3 warships materialized from hyperspace, disabled the patrol vessel before it could transmit a warning, and seized the research station. 42 human scientists were placed in stasis and transported to Valorian space. The entire operation took less than 2 hours. Back on Earth, in a command center buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, Director of Defense Elena Reyes received the automated distress beacon from Proxima Station. It contained only basic telemetry data, the patrol ship's final sensor readings before it was disabled. Elena didn't panic. She didn't rage. She simply turned to her staff and said, "Wake the silent fleet. Activation code Theta 9 Whisper. And get me the president." Across the Sol system, something extraordinary began to happen. From the dark side of Mars, 6 massive vessels, each nearly 5 kilometers long, disengaged from hidden moorings and powered up systems that had been in standby for decades. From beneath the ice sheets of Europa, another 8 ships emerged, their hulls gleaming with a material that absorbed rather than reflected light. In the asteroid belt, 20 smaller but equally formidable vessels activated, their weapon systems coming online with cold precision. These weren't Earth's only ships. These were Earth's real ships. On the Valorian homeworld, Kazen received the news of the successful capture with satisfaction. "Have we detected any unusual human fleet movements?" "None, Supreme Commander," his intelligence officer reported. "Their response has been exactly as predicted. They've dispatched a diplomatic vessel requesting an emergency meeting with the conquered." "Excellent. They know they cannot challenge us militarily. They seek political solutions." Kazen's skin pulsed with pleasure. The diplomatic meeting was scheduled for the neutral station orbiting Centauri Prime. Representatives from all major powers would attend. The Valorians prepared their demands. Earth would join their protection pact, allow Valorian bases on all human worlds, and contribute resources to the Empire. In exchange, the researchers would be returned, most of them anyway. At the appointed time, the Earth representative arrived. Not in a diplomatic shuttle, but in a sleek black vessel unlike any the Valorians had seen before. It was small, barely 50 meters long, but sensors couldn't penetrate its hull, and its energy signature was negligible despite its evident speed. The human who stepped into the Grand Council chamber wasn't dressed in the ceremonial garb of Earth's diplomatic corps. Instead, Admiral James Chen wore a simple gray uniform with minimal insignia. His face betrayed no emotion as he took his seat across from Kazen. "You've violated our sovereignty," Chen said simply. "You've abducted our people. We request their immediate return." Kazen's skin flickered with amusement. "Your request is noted. However, the Valorian Empire has concerns about unaligned powers in strategically important regions. We offer protection and prosperity in exchange for certain accommodations." Chen's expression remained unchanged. "You misunderstand. This isn't a negotiation. Return our people within 24 standard hours, or we will retrieve them ourselves." The chamber erupted in laughter, not just from the Valorians, but from several other species as well. Earth-threatening military action against the Valorian Empire? It was absurd. The humans had no significant fleet, no advanced weapons. Kazen leaned forward, his lights pulsing with condescension. "Admiral Chen, surely you understand the disparity in our forces. The Valorian fleet numbers over 3,000 warships. You have, what, 20? 30? "You have 24 hours, Chen repeated, standing up. "This is your only warning." As Chen departed, most delegates continued to chuckle at the humans' apparent delusion. Only the Nexari ambassador, an ancient being who had observed countless civilizations rise and fall, remained silent, her compound eyes tracking the human with unusual intensity. "Something troubles you, Ambassador Trill?" asked a neighboring delegate. "The humans," she whispered. "In 70 years of contact, they have never once demonstrated their full military capabilities. Not once. Don't you find that unusual?" 23. Hours later, Supreme Commander Kazen received an urgent communication. 3 Valorian border outposts had gone silent simultaneously, then 5 more, then an entire monitoring station. Before he could process this information, a priority alert came from the highest security facility in the Empire, the military research complex where the human scientists were being held. All communication had ceased. Surveillance drones dispatched to investigate found only empty buildings. The human prisoners, the Valorian guards, the research staff, all had vanished without a trace. And then, appearing directly above the Valorian capital, a single massive vessel materialized. It was unlike any ship the Valorians had ever encountered, black as the void, with no visible propulsion system, no energy signature, no heat output. It simply existed where moments before there had been empty space. A transmission reached every communication device on the planet simultaneously. Admiral Chen's voice was calm, measured. "Your 24 hours have expired. We have recovered our people. They are unharmed and returning to Earth. To demonstrate the seriousness of our warning, we have temporarily disabled your border defenses and primary research facility. All personnel have been relocated unharmed to your southern continent." Kazen, his skin now pulsing violent red with rage and fear, screamed, "How? How did they penetrate our defenses? Where is our fleet?" The answer came moments later as reports flooded in. The Valorian response fleet, all 300 ships dispatched to intercept the human vessel, hung motionless in space, their systems completely powered down. Crews reported that the ships had simply stopped. Every system had shut down simultaneously, as if some external force had reached in and flipped a universal off switch. Chen's voice continued. "For 70 years, Earth has maintained peace by choice, not necessity. We have kept our true capabilities hidden because we have seen what happens to species who demonstrate power. They become targets, or they are pressed to become conquerors. We wished for neither." Above the Valorian homeworld, the massive black ship began to fade from view, not moving away but simply becoming transparent until it was gone from sight and sensors. Consider this matter closed. But remember, Earth is not defenseless. We never were. The awakening storm. In the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Concord, the atmosphere had transformed from one of casual dismissal to tense apprehension in the span of 3 days. Representatives from 17 species sat in uncomfortable silence as reports of the Valorian encounter were analyzed and dissected. Ambassador Trill of the Nexari spoke first, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the holographic display of the human vessel that had appeared above the Valorian homeworld. "The Humans have deceived us all, she said, but not through lies, through selective truth. They showed us only what they wished us to see. A species with moderate technology, limited expansion, and minimal military assets. The Trosian delegate, General Zax, pounded his armored fist on the table. This is unacceptable. A species cannot simply hide its true capabilities from the Concord. There are protocols, transparency requirements, which they never violated, noted Trill. Earth submitted all required documentation about their publicly acknowledged military assets. They simply omitted mentioning others. Supreme Commander Kaizen, still shaken from the encounter, said nothing. His skin barely pulsed, a sign of deep distress among his kind. The humiliation of having 300 warships neutralized without a single shot being fired had shattered Valorian military confidence. Far from this discussion, on Earth itself, President Sofia Rodriguez sat with her Security Council in the Oval Office. The mood was somber despite their successful rescue operation. 70 years, she said quietly. 70 years of careful restraint, of hiding our true capabilities, all undone because the Valorians couldn't resist flexing their muscles. Admiral Chen, now back on Earth, nodded. The Silent Fleet is fully operational, Madam President, but we've lost the element of surprise. The galaxy now knows, or at least suspects, that Earth possesses technology far beyond what we've demonstrated publicly. Defense Director Elena Reyes brought up a holographic map of local space. We're already detecting increased surveillance from multiple species. Probe ships at the edge of our territory, long-range scans. They're all trying to figure out exactly what we have. And the Valorians? Asked the President. Regrouping but shaken, Chen replied. Their ships were completely disabled by our EMP technology, something they apparently haven't developed immunity to. They've recalled their fleet to defensive positions around their core worlds. As they spoke, a priority alert flashed on the main screen. Multiple Valorian warships had broken formation and were accelerating toward human space. Not the dozen they had expected, but over 700 vessels. They're not retreating, Reyes said, her voice tight. They're mobilizing for full-scale war. Rodriguez closed her eyes briefly, then looked at her commanders. So be it. Activate the Sentinel protocol. All of it. Across Earth's solar system and beyond, hidden installations that had remained dormant for decades began powering up. On Mercury, massive energy collectors unfurled toward the sun. In the Kuiper Belt, automated defense platforms disengaged from comets where they had been concealed. From underground bunkers on Mars, Earth, and Venus, thousands of autonomous combat drones launched into space, and from a dimensional pocket that existed slightly out of phase with normal space-time, humanity's greatest technological achievement and most closely guarded secret, emerged the Vanguard fleet. 30 ships, each carrying weaponry that could reduce planets to molten slag. In the Valorian war room, Supreme Commander Kaizen watched with grim satisfaction as his armada approached. Human territory, 700 of our finest warships against their handful of vessels, no matter how advanced. Numbers will overwhelm them. His confidence lasted exactly 8 minutes into the engagement. The first wave of Valorian ships never even saw what hit them. One moment they were proceeding in perfect formation. The next, 50 vessels simply vanished, converted to expanding clouds of superheated plasma by weapons that struck from beyond the range of Valorian sensors. The second wave broke. Formation and attempted evasive maneuvers. They fared no better. Human autonomous drones, thousands of them, swarmed through their ranks, attaching to ships and shutting down systems or detonating with pinpoint precision against crucial components. By the time the Valorian flagship detected the true extent of the human fleet emerging from dimensional pockets throughout the battlefield, over 300 Valorian vessels had been neutralized or destroyed. Kaizen, his skin now pale white with terror, gave the only order he could. Retreat, full retreat. But retreat was no longer possible. The human ships had created a barrier of distorted space-time around the battlefield, another technology the Valorians had never encountered. Nothing could enter or leave without human permission. And then, appearing on every communication channel, across the Valorian fleet came the face of Admiral James Chen. This ends now, he said simply. The Valorian Empire will stand down its military forces, withdraw from all contested territories, and submit to Concord arbitration for your unprovoked attack on human citizens. Failure to comply will result in the complete neutralization of your remaining forces. Kazan, broken, could only whisper, "Comply, comply with all demands." 3 days later, the full Galactic Concord convened an emergency session. Present were representatives of all major powers, and for the first time, Earth sent not just a diplomatic envoy but a full military delegation headed by Admiral Chen, the Concord's supreme arbiter, an ancient Dylosian whose species prided itself on neutrality, addressed the assembly. "We face an unprecedented situation. A founding member of the Concord has been decisively defeated by a power whose true capabilities were unknown to us all. The balance that has maintained peace for centuries has been disrupted." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "With respect, Arbiter, Earth has no desire for conquest or domination. We developed our technologies and kept them hidden precisely because we wish to avoid the cycle of escalation and warfare that has plagued galactic history. Yet you possess weapons that could destroy any fleet in known space," countered the Arbiter. "We possess them but have never used them aggressively. The Valorian attack forced our hand. Now we face a choice: continue the cycle of suspicion and eventual war, or forge a new path." From her seat, Ambassador Trill of the Nexari studied the human with her ancient eyes. "What do you propose, Admiral?" Chen gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed technical specifications, not of weapons but of medical technologies, environmental restoration systems, advanced propulsion methods that required no fuel, energy generation capabilities that drew power from the quantum foam itself. "Earth offers technological partnership," he said simply. "Not of weapons, but of technologies that benefit all sentient life. In exchange, we ask for genuine peace, not enforced by threat of destruction, but built on mutual respect and recognition of sovereignty." The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The humans weren't offering subjugation or demanding reparations. They were offering advancement, technologies that could transform life throughout the galaxy, technologies they had kept hidden alongside their weapons. The Valorian representative, no longer Kazan, but a diplomatic officer named Solara, was the first to speak. "Why would you share such valuable advancements after we attacked you? What guarantee do you seek?" Chen's expression remained calm. "Because that is who humanity chooses to be. We developed weapons because the universe is dangerous. We developed these other technologies because life should be more than mere survival. As for guarantees..." He paused, looking around the chamber. "The galaxy has seen what happens when humanity is pushed too far. We trust that is guarantee enough." In the silence that followed, the gathered representatives of 1,000 worlds began to understand something profound about the species they had underestimated for so long. Humans hadn't hidden their strength out of fear or deception, but out of choice. A choice to avoid the very conflict that had now been forced upon them. And as the Concord began the process of restructuring itself around this new reality, spacefaring civilizations everywhere learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous species in the galaxy isn't the one that threatens and postures, but the quiet one that has never shown its true strength, until it must.